So I think it's really important to talk about emotions and sex and how emotions are affecting sex. So I mean, so many people, they're not getting the sex they want. They're not getting the pleasure they want. I hear like a lot of women complaining that they're not getting orgasms. They're not getting enough orgasms. They're not getting the pleasure they want from their partner. They may need to go to masturbate on their own to get it. And there's many men these days suffering with premature ejaculation. Is incredibly common. There's erectile dysfunction affecting very many men. And so obviously there is, this big problem around sexuality. Now, if we look at conventional Western sexology, it kind of tells us the answers are lying in perhaps a bigger sex toy. Maybe his penis isn't big enough. Maybe you need to try a kink, so get someone to tie you up and spank you, and that's going to give you the pleasure that you're looking for. Now, the problem with this understanding is it's just looking at sex on a very kind of surface level, not really understanding how deep and intricate a part of our whole human existence it actually is. And it's actually no surprise that people think this, because if we look at our culture, we look at Western culture, for so long we've been told sex is dirty, it's shameful, and you should feel guilty about it. And this belief has not disappeared yet. It's not gone. There's a massive lack of like healthy conversation about sex, especially between parents and children, and also between adults. And sex education is dire, is terrible, is not teaching people what sex is about. It's not teaching people in schools. There's obviously a huge problem with date rape, sexual harassment, and so on, which the establishment is finding extremely difficult to address and to figure out what to do about this. And it somehow seems like in the midst of this, people are very reticent to look into sort of what might be the emotional connection there. Now, if you imagine anything that you're told is, is shameful, especially, it's going to affect the way that we interact with that thing. If we are told anybody from France is a bad person, and then we meet a French person, we hear their accent, we're going to get scared in all likelihood. This is basically the basis of racism, homophobia, sexism, that when we're given certain beliefs, we'll act out on those beliefs, often, unconsciously. And certainly when we look at sexism, there's so much misogyny projected onto women by nice guys that are just completely oblivious and unaware about what they're doing, and that their language is about disempowering women, But now, how do emotions affect us? Okay, now, someone feels arousal, and they've been so, told so deeply that the arousal is a bad thing, that it's a sinful thing. It's inevitable that when they start experiencing sex, there is that fear. And of course, fear, excitement, these are adrenalized states. They're very sort of closely connected together. And certainly, I mean, I remember when I was growing up, when I was young, in the 90s, we would have, romantic movies where you'd show, huge buildup of the seduction, then finally, maybe just a little bit of leg with a hand stroking, and it would zoom out and leave it all to your imagination, which I just found like really sweet, And even if you look at erotica from the 90s, it's kind of cute, as well. But and there's a lot of emotion in it, and I think I quite like it because it's showing all the emotion around sex. Whereas modern pornography, which obviously has been designed to kind of watch in short clips, and it's been designed to hook viewers as well, because the industry, the porn industry, obviously is a highly lucrative industry, and the more that you're clicking, the more that they're basically making money out of it. So it's designed to kind of pull you into this kind of burst of sort of sexual energy and this ejaculation, and then this release of tension. And especially if you go at sex with a real life person in the same way you would go masturbating at porn movie, or the porn actors and actresses seem to be carrying on, is invariably going to be just quite dissatisfying, and I think in particular dissatisfying for the woman. And I think that one of the big harms that that porn is causing is because it disconnects sex from love and from also emotions, essentially. Love obviously being an emotion. And I mean, I was talking to a friend about this recently, and he was describing this porn he'd watched and saying, oh no, don't worry, it was non-consensual. But essentially it did still involve, you know, a guy sort of manipulating a woman into sex, even though he wasn't grabbing her and violently forcing her on it. And the point is, I guess, that there's a lack of, let's say, like a lack of love and connection, and also really a lack of consent from her part, you know. And when I look at this whole porn industry and the stories playing out in it, what I just see and notice is it's like that, you know, that it's like what's coming across is there's still all this sexual guilt. Because when people talk about rape fantasies, people, why does someone have a rape fantasy? You know, if I'm a girl that's grown up being told by my parents that I'm sinful to have sex and I have rape fantasies, it means I can fantasize about sex without the guilt, you know? And it's just playing into these old sort of archetypes and stereotypes of, you know, that women feeling aroused is, you know, sinful, that men being aroused is just the way things are, and that women are there to sort of be taken by men, you know? Now, when it comes to real life sex and real life emotions, in your partnership, or even if you're having like a hookup or a one night stand, being able to actually like be yourself and talk about how you feel means you're able to relax. Being able to relax equals better sex, longer sex, and more orgasms. Now, you know, people can have a multitude of emotions, like messy emotions around sexuality. It can be like you were hurt by someone. You know, people don't often talk about sexual shame. It's definitely there though, you know, but whatever emotions are going on, if you're able to actually get a little bit of talking about that, or just even like be in a place where you actually feel safe that, you know what, maybe I don't want to talk about it, but if I do, I can, you know. So so it's so important to be in this safe space, to feel comfy when we're making love, because otherwise the adrenaline's kicking in, the flight or fight is kicking in, it's shutting down the female orgasm, it's causing the male ejaculation. Now, one thing that I've become aware is like really, really common. Obviously, the porn sex is all this big rush. And there's so many men that rush into sex, and breaking it down and talking to clients. What I've found out is like guys are like terrified of sex. They're terrified of vaginas. You know, these are these incredibly powerful things that these human beings that are not like them have. And they don't understand how they work. They don't know what to do. And you know, they're so also ashamed of the fact that they don't know what to do, ashamed that, especially as men, they're not able to take the lead and do what's supposed to be the manly thing. And all these negative cultural stereotypes around sex are just ruining the fun for everyone. So, you know, in terms of your emotions, in terms of all of our emotions, my emotions, I think, first of all, it's important to really get real. Yeah, there's so many emotions we're repressing inside of our bodies that are we're not even aware of, that we're in denial. So if you're having, you know, pain in your body, sicknesses, numbness in your body, you're not feeling so much, you're not having multiple orgasms, or you're having premature ejaculation, all of this is signs of emotions being stuck there in your body. And I think one of the really great things I found about just being able to actually go, you know what, I feel this, and like, I'm really okay about this, you know, and talk about something, is it really just makes you comfortable with who you are. And I do just think like sex, it's about being who we are. Whoever you are, whoever I am, we're all weirdos. We're all kind of quirky. We're all a bit odd. You know, nobody wants this stereotype of this sort of hunky guy or whatever. You know, someone like that, okay, if they have a personality and they're fun and interesting, fine. But if there's no personality going on, what is it? I mean, I might as well just buy a sex toy and pleasure myself with that, you know, rather than connect and feel love. So, you know, there's also this thing that we say in Tantra, which is that our ability to connect with our own emotions has a lot to do with also our ability to experience pleasure. So if we can't experience emotions, we've repressed so much stuff, it's also going to just be like blocking down our ability to experience pleasure as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Do check out my blogs, my other videos as well for more info, and hoping you have a great day.